Welcome back, everybody. So now we're going to work on the logic to setting all of this up. So when a user clicks this button, this increases by 1. When this team on this side, this button will increase by 1. When they press this button, this will increase by 1. And a reset button to put both of these back to 0. So let's go to our main activity.java, which can be found here, or if the main activity Java isn't here, we can go here to Java, open up this package, and it'll be the first package you open. Double click on main activity, and this main activity is linked to our main activity.xml. You can see that here and also here in the main activity, because this is the content we're going to set on the Android view when this main activity is called. So now if we go back to our main activity, we're going to work on this left side first. So we have this text view, we have this button. So let's work on the left side first, team A. And you know what? We need to give this text view an ID. The ID we're going to call this is team A, and we're just going to say text view. So we know team A text view. And while we're at it, let's give team B an ID for its text view. So team B text view. So now let's just work on team A stuff. So we're going to go down here. We're going to put private, and the reason we're putting private is because we only want this class to have access to this variable. So private text view, and we're going to just call it team A text view. I like to put the names in the way I can remember what I called it on the main XML. And inside of the onCreate method, this is where we're going to finish creating the link between the text view, and then we're going to put find text view by ID. The ID we gave it is called team A text view. So team A br.id.team A text view. And we'll also have to go to the button, which is, we call the main activity team A 1 point. So let's create that link. So private button team A, and you know what? Let's do btn team A 1 point. It's okay to give it a long name because the system will begin to auto-complete it for you once you type in the first couple of characters. Gives you a suggestion of the name. Once you see the name that you want to use, you could just hit tab and it types the rest for you. And then we're going to finish creating the link. Find view by ID or .id. Called it main activity team A 1 point. And the reason this is giving us an error is because we put text view, but this is actually a button. So button, team A, awesome. So now what we want every time we click this button, we want this score to increase by 1. So how do we get this click event to happen when the user presses this button? We want the score to go up by 1. To make that happen, what we're going to do is we're going to implement a on-click listener. It's called on-click listener. It's going to give us this error. That's because we haven't implemented the method. So we're going to click this red light bulb, implement the method. The method we want is the on-click listener. It's going to create that down here. So now we just have to add the logic into here. So what we're going to do is we're going to do a switch statement, and we're going to do view, well, not view, but v which is the view. It's passing in a view, and the view is the current content that's being set on the screen. So this is the view for this main activity.xml. So we're going to do v dot get ID, and then the ID, we're going to do a case if the ID is r.id.main activity team A1 point. We're going to do break, and we're going to give it a default case, and the default case will just do one thing. If the user presses a button, or if we're testing our app and we haven't set up the click event for that button, what we're going to do is we're going to create a toast, make toast, and this toast is a pop-up which is going to tell us that, hey, there isn't any action assigned to this button just yet. So we'll know that, hey, if we have a button and we didn't assign any click event, we need to add something to it. So toast dot make toast dot, we need to get the application content. We need to put in a custom message, and we want our custom message to be coming from our strings.xml file. So we're going to go here, and we're going to give it a name of nothing happened. And inside of here, just nothing happened, or better yet, yes, nothing happened. So if we see nothing happen, we know we need to do something with that button or text or whatever we're giving a click event action to. So to get that from our strings.xml file, what we're going to do is there's a method built in Android Studio, method called getStrings, and we're going to get it by its ID. So it's r.string.nothingHappened. And the third parameter we have to pass in will be toast, because this would be the length of how long we want it to show. So we're going to put toast long, and then we're going to put show. Now, how do we create this link for our on-click listeners? You implement the view.onClickListener. Then you could create the switch statement for all the views that you want it to listen to. What you have to do is you have to go to that view, and the view that we want it to listen on, like the button we want it to listen on, we're going to attach the button, and we're going to say that button on click listener, and we're going to assign it to this, because this on click listener is assigned to this click listener here. So it's listening for when this ID is clicked, and the ID is attached to this button. So when this button is clicked, what we're going to do is we're going to increase the user score by 1. So to increase the score by 1, we're just going to give this let's just do it this way. We're going to say team A text view dot set text, going to set that to 1. But if we do it this way, the score will always be 1. We want it to increase by 1. So to get it to increase by 1 all the time, what we need to do is we need to get the current value from the screen and then add a 1 to that value. So what we're going to do here is we're going to make a method going to be private void. We're going to call it add1, and that add1 is going to take in the parameter of the text view. So it's going to be this text view, and we're going to call it the text view. So from there, we're going to have this. Let's create a string variable called temp number, which is going to equals the text view dot. We need to get the text from the view and then convert it to a string, which this toString method is going to do. Afterwards, we need to convert this to an integer value, which is going to be, we can do int current value equals, there's a method called integer dot parse int, which is going to convert this string value, which is temp number, to an integer. And afterwards, what we're going to do next, since we have this text view value, which is going to be converted to an integer, what we need to do is take that current integer, increase it by 1, and then set that back onto the view. So to do this, you're going to do current value equals current value plus 1. So this will increase the current value by 1. And then we're going to take that current value, and then we're going to call the text view dot set text current value. So now the only thing we have left to do is we need to call this method, which will be add number, and we're going to call it on this team A text view, and we're going to remove this set text right here because that is being taken care of with this method right here. So once again, to review, we created our own custom method, which is called add one. The add one does one thing only. It's going to take the current text view, which is team A text view right here. We're going to get the current text. We're going to convert the current text to an integer. We're going to increase the current integer by 1, and then we're going to set the text back on that text view so the user will see that the score is increasing by 1.